Hey, beloveds, how's it going? I hope this message finds you well as we are going over many topics about your struggle with failure, which can be triggering and that can stop you from reaching your nearly impossible goals. In growing anything, like many of our past DEVA graduates, you are sick and tired of working twice as hard for half as much, which we covered in our last video, the statistics in seeking to clarify your purpose without the negative stinking thinking or the shit committee from your parents, grandparents, friends, society, culture, and media. We've already busted four myths about money, people, freedom, success, and time about growing anything. And that was in the previous video. Let's see. Back to my story of why I created BizDeva for what you're going through. The shit committee. DARID. Depression, anxiety, restlessness, irritability, and discontent in your shadows and your inner children from your generational trauma, family addictions, abuse allegiance, and poverty. As you transform to your sober, abundant life vision and your dream team pleasure, happy, joyous, and free. All right, let's go back to 2017. 2017, I had just won top minority business leader. There are many of us by the Philadelphia Business Journal, and the Women's Biz Cup won the best business center in Philadelphia for the first time. What? Yeah. Behind the scenes, I'd been working my butt off nonstop to get to where we were, but I was used to it. The immigrant hustle. In high school, I had managed a dry cleaning store working from 7 to 7 p.m. in the summer. Obviously, during the day I went to school, 7 days a week, working for almost nothing a week. I picked up dry cleaning from regular customers in our secondary location, dropped off items to the Irish subcontractors, plus occasionally drove coworkers home. I worked the front desk. I was subjected to microaggressions about where am I from, my well-spoken English, and all day I listened to complaints about how their clothing was handled or how their names might have been misspelled and how they're carrying first world problems. Internally, I'd be thinking, lady, or not always lady, but normally it was lady. Lady, you're paying about $1 for someone to wash and iron your clothes and place them on a hanger with plastic over it. We were all immigrants, busting our butts off to serve everyone. We were all doing our best. Not here to get you or exploit you for your buck. Karen, chill out. It's not the end of the world. I was constantly exhausted with no days off. Later, when I worked for a Wall Street firm studying for the CFA, the Chartered Financial Analyst, and gearing up for the CPA, the Certified Public Accountant exams, while part-time bookkeeping and on the founding team of my first nonprofit, the National Association of Asian American Professionals in Philadelphia, I applied the same immigrant work ethic. I was the only female of color hired in the office that was not an administrative assistant. So basically, a decision maker versus administrative assistant, very important position, but often in a supporting role and not making decisions. I found out that my peers were buddies with other financial advisors. They were in the same frat or whatever. They hung out and were making twice as much, taking weekends off and playing golf together. Fantastic. My life had followed the same pattern, work twice as hard as anyone and get half as much. Unfortunately, this time, literally. Yeah. When I found out, and these people had like no experience that means that they've earned in some way, that they've had more education. In fact, I had more education. I was completing 150 credits in comparison to the traditional 124-year program. As many of you know, I worked myself almost literally to death as I wasn't eating and sleeping much, which led to my demise, chronic pain, cane, wheelchair, and unable to eat solid foods. I don't recommend it. Oh, the immigrant hustle. Exhausting all Western medical methods, I turned to Eastern alternative medicine in Asia and the US. The reason why we went to Asia was because my husband was from Asia, which only got me so far. Back to the US. I could walk short distances without a cane or wheelchair again, which was a miracle, no doubt, and eat again in the States as a raw foods vegan. That was not sustainable, especially in Mongolia. But that was only a part of my healing. I was a miserable side, which I liken that to the Irish culture. Oh, yeah, good old Seamus. A mental and emotional default passed down to me from my parents and grandparents from my families. Mentally, it showed up as my stinking thinking or my committee. Thoughts like, I am powerless, I am unworthy, I am undeserving, and I am unvaluable. I know technically not a word, and a lot of times it gets corrected to invaluable, but we're just going to go with what I was feeling and what I labeled it at the time, unvaluable. And that I am alone and angry Asian all of the friggin' time. AAA, triple A. Which was a thought that I had since entering pre-kindergarten, my earliest schooling memories, and had to deal with the daily microaggressions, fights, bullying, about the shape of my eyes, my skin color, my glasses, smelling like an ashtray from my parents smoking without opening the windows. You couldn't open up the windows. Oh my gosh. I had to breathe through my mouth. It was awful. I basically grew up at a bar. You name it. Once I was punished for defending myself in a food fight. The multiple offenders went scot-free as they blamed me for starting it. Ah, and there was more of them than just one of me, and the alone angry Asian. And I was the only one fighting back for my be able to eat in peace. The teachers punished me with 1 week solo lunch. Ugh, just like heaven. Yeah, not really a punishment. I got to eat, like eat, without getting ganged up on and dealing with other kids. Yeah, I was 4. Did I deserve that? No, I didn't. Anyway, so, and for those of you who have also had to deal with daily microaggressions, fights, and bullying, and basically not feeling safe in one's own body, I'm so sorry that you also had to go through that. Emotionally, it was I call it my addict core. My depression combined with anxiety, restlessness, irritability, and discontent. Or DARID, depending on what side of the bridge you're from. Sometimes I thought I was just how I was, you know, DARID. Being kind of a loner and the other kids don't want to make friends with me because of all of the above. Shape of my eyes, color of my skin. I theoretically had to wear glasses, didn't always wear them. And I smelled like an ashtray. Luckily, I didn't have braces. Whew, I'd have been like, I don't even know, quadruple, quintuple. Anyway. And I had one best friend, Mandy, fellow Irish girl, freckled redhead. She had wavy hair down her back that I'd help her lift it on the toilet so she wouldn't pee on it. So long. Like looking back, I'm like, ooh, I'm surprised her parents let her keep her hair that long. But she loved her long hair. Even though she was in another class, we'd see each other during recess and play. I was even invited over to her house, and we were the best of friends until we went to different elementary schools, and I never saw her again. I mean, we were 4 and 5 years old at the time, and learning how to write our names and basic math, and can't even look up on social because I don't even know her last name. Hey, Mandy, if you're watching this, I hope you're well. Thank you for making my earliest memories at school a little brighter. Sometimes we all just need a little support to make our days go a little smoother. You know, gracefully and gratefully. During my school days, I woke with magical stars in my eyes, brimming of the excitement of what I could learn that day. Those are my earliest days. I remember that feeling. I'd greet the day with a smile, blasting music and dancing around while getting ready. I was inherently happy, joyous, and free, playing throughout the day with my imaginary friends. I mean, I only got to see Mandy on occasion. My dream team, my imaginary friends. My mood didn't depend on people, places, and things around me. Gosh, I was so resilient at the time as a little kid. And, you know, 2 years of pre-kindergarten plus 12 years of formal schooling up to high school. That's 12, 14, plus an additional 18 years of college. Kind of eventually beat it out of me dealing with people. Although college things were a little bit better, more diverse. I wasn't the only one. But as a working adult, I did not feel that way. I dreaded getting up. Oh, once again, I was the only one. The commute, the office politics, the pressure to look good, brand, market, and sell. Yeah, financial advisors. Leshy. For women, it's not just looking good and wearing nice clothes and smelling good. It's also the accessories, the makeup, the hair. One time I had a 360-degree review, and the complaint was not about me and my work ethic. Oh no. You know what the complaint was? As it is in women's leadership? It was about my hair. I kid you not. So Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama, I feel you. Mm, the criticism, on the pressure. Uh, when I started my healing journey, battling for my life to walk and eat again, even though I wasn't in the work rigmarole, my shitty committee was in overdrive. Ooh, did I say that out loud? My shit committee was in overdrive, and I was still very dared. And that's when I realized I had lost my purpose. I wondered if I even knew what my purpose was to begin with. That in actuality, my purpose was handed to me by my parents and grandparents, society, media, culture, and even my friends. My committee was created in response to them. And that's how my fails, fears, assumptions, interpretations, and limited beliefs also began. You know, where we started from. Every week I layer out just a little bit more of content so you can unearth what's going on inside of you that can help you reach your nearly impossible goal. Hopefully, you can do it on your own. And if not, we in the WBC community are here for you. For me to grow into the person I was meant to be, thank you, K-pop Demon Hunters, I started shadow and inner child work because the patterns, beginning with my parents and grandparents and ending with society, cultural friends, and media, to unlearn what I had been programmed and to clarify my purpose, to feel more happy and joyous and free with my dream team and better brand, market, and sell my business. I grew, and so did my business. Yeah. And of course, then we piloted and tested it out for many years until we got the recipe, the formula just right. All right, Goldilocks. When will you take a stand for yourself and your descendants? Besides societal structures, culture classes, and media messaging, you may be facing your shadows and inner children, mental blocks from generational trauma, feeling helpless from the impact of family addictions, lowest self-esteem from past abuse, and lack of resources in poverty. These challenges can create a sense of being stuck in your T chain reactions. Remember, they are unconscious. Thoughts, the emotions, and the actions. Therefore, the results are exactly the same as your parents and grandparents got. Mm-hmm. Till you break your T chain reactions, which hopefully with the help of these videos, and if you do need additional outside support, help, coaching, we're here for you. This can hinder your ability to stay sober, recover from trauma, and clarify your purpose. Sometimes I find when people, even if they've gone through Start My Business Today and then they go through BizDeva, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much additional gunk, hoochow is in there. Negative energy blocks. You may feel that your fear of failure, competing priorities, constant disempowering noise from your family, friends, society, cultures, and media drag you down. And being doubtful of your next steps that are holding you back. Despite your efforts, such as self-help and business development, your workshop warrior, 8-week online coaching programs, every alternative practitioner there is, and you're still stuck and have not transformed your comfort set points for time, money, success, and freedom. You know what I'm talking about. You might be the same weight despite what you eat. It's your set point. For those of you that are in Zepbound or GLP-1s, working on shedding weight. Sometimes when you frame it as losing, when people get off of things, they will gain it back, right? So language, that's all part of it. Letting go of weight. There's yang power paradigms at points that were created in fear and control of you. What you truly desire is to upgrade to your sober, abundant life vision. You long to grow a business. You long to grow yourself through an authentic yin power way that clarifies your purpose, allowing you gracefully, gratefully brand, market, and sell. Take necessary, calculated risks for generational wealth growth. Instead of passing down generational trauma, complete your brand marketing and sales plans to experiment with new power approaches and live a sober, abundant life vision full of passion, purpose, process, and prosperity. I so feel you, and that's why I created BizDeva. Clarifying one's purpose, it would have been nice if it triggered feelings of happiness, joyousness, and freedom. Instead of anxiety, concern, doubt, and overwhelm, good old DARID from my fails to brand market and sell. Later, when I worked with the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, coaching and consulting thousands of aspiring leaders and entrepreneurs, I usually heard complaints about fails triggered, feeling like they can't grow their business, DARID, I worked in Philly, and complaints about blah, blah, brand, meh, machismo marketing, and slimy sales. I realized that all of our brand marketing and sales that were taught and I was teaching that was based on fear and control of the Yang power paradigm. To my shock and horror, some of the brand marketing and sales lessons dated back to the late 1800s, when slavery was theoretically no longer legal, but still sadly practiced. Women were still treated as chattel and property too, without the right to access higher education, work, vote, credit, and own property. And if you were LGBTQ plus, you may have been so closeted. If you're open about it, you may have been ostracized. I mean, people nowadays are abandoned by their families hundreds of years later. No wonder most women, LGBTQ plus, and minority BIPOC folks inherently rejected their classes about brand marketing and sales. When my sponsor at the time sent me information about the 11 universal laws, 1111, folks, I realized that there was another way to gracefully, gratefully co-create with the universe. That yin power brand marketing and sales has never been taught until now. Based on that consistent feedback, I created BizDeva Intensive as a discounted package all in one for your convenience and success. Self-help and business courses to help you overcome your fails, feedback for your personal development from your committee to dream team and business growth, accountability to GSD, with the guidance of 11 universal laws, co-creating naturally as the universe intended. Brand marketing and sales plans through the yin power way to authentically grow and a new vibe. Uplevel your power paradigm to build your tribe. And you are not the only one. Here's an origin moment story to great original mystery to OMG stories. So it's an to GOM to OMG stories from people just like you. All right. So working smarter, not harder, with money appearing out of nowhere. I kid you not. Initially flying the lesbian flag for decades, one day during my Imagine Team training session, it dawned on me that I'd always been more masculine in energy. I felt more integrity, self-identifying as queer. Before becoming a women's biz co-op director, I had generally walked with a cane. As my energy became more congruent and with feeling fulfilled on my new mission, I started going to a gym, working out for the first time in years. It had been a very long time and it felt so good and healthy. Old family trauma drama patterns began creeping up, pulling me back a bit, but I was able to handle them with grace as a renewed sense of peace washed over me with the help of personalized, resilient abundance 60-minute sessions week after week. Letting go of what no longer served me, I began to imagine a clearer and brighter vision as I saw greater abundance in my business. Clients that once adamantly resisted uh, instantaneously booked sessions. Ooh, I remember when that happened. That was pretty crazy. They were like, I can't believe it. This person was like dragging me down session after session. I began to work smarter instead of harder. I had to work for a year to deal with my health issues. Money appeared out of nowhere on a few occasions to pay off a loan. Ooh, I remember that too when they told us about it. Call it divine synchronicity or luck. I felt that I was living in harmony instead of constantly fighting to pay my bills, dealing with family members, and struggling with my health. Did I also mention they ended up living with the love of their life that they had been chasing for the past 13 years to be in a relationship with? Well, it came together. My hope is that many others in their community, through powerful personal transformative techniques taught in BizDeva and other WBC experiences, and that we can all be known in the third person singular just as people without pronouns. And this is from Felicia, mental health counselor and spiritual teacher, Chicago, Illinois. Now, our invitation to you, if you're ready to get paid what you're worth and valued for who you are, and not judged by your form or any other category, for those of you that remember our previous video and how much people are getting paid in relation to another human being, often 60, 77, 68 to 55, to perhaps even less than percentage. Hopefully, you'll join BizDeva. In our intensive, you're going to learn the 11 universal laws for brand, marketing, and sales through the Yin Power Way. Inside, we'll also unearth yours, your parents, and your grandparents' committee, stinking thinking that prevents you from earning what you are worth. And you'll take assessments to learn your power paradigm level and transform your time, money, success, and freedom. Yeah, your comfort zone set points. You don't need those anymore. And that means what's the difference? For some of you, that's the difference from going from 5 figures to 6 figures. Others, it might be 6 to 7. And for some, it might be 7, 8, and beyond. And for some of you, it might be 3 to 4 figures to 5 figures. I don't know. Complete exercises to break your T, thoughts, emotions, actions, chain reactions. Write your brand marketing and sales plans to earn more. And at the end of the 9 weeks, you'll clarify your purpose while gratefully transforming, growing a business, perhaps, or even personally negotiating a promotion or a raise. And you can begin BizDeva Intensive today. You don't have to wait. As soon as you register, you will have immediate access, chapters 1 through 6, to write your first draft of, well, to start transforming your relationship and maybe start writing your first draft, no pressure, of your brand marketing and sales plans for your schedule, accessibility, neurodiversity, and or LEP, limited English proficiency needs. I get it. Some of you speak English as a third, fourth, fifth, sixth language. We're with you. AI agents can help you translate, write, and answer questions before a live group coaching begins on that specific date. So if you need more information, you can go to www.biz-deva.com. That's biz-deva.com. And we'll see you on the inside. Bye for now.